to Ram's question that I remembered before I closed out the session schedule after he and I had an email discussion. The question was related to criteria for finding the best calls and puts. Now, I'm under the assumption he was talking about to buy. Ram, you did have a second part of your question that I missed, so if you can remember that, go ahead. But let's go ahead and talk about the criteria that we use, preferred criteria for call buying and put buying using the PowerOptions tools. Let me go ahead and pause the screen. We're going to navigate over to the PowerOptions suite of tools, of course, which we're going to use to illustrate our questions that have come in. There we go. Fantastic. Now, right now, as you can see, I have my strategy tab menu set up, home, my portfolio, signature tools, covered call, and so forth. I don't have long call and long put available. Buy call or buy put. I don't have cash secured naked puts here either. If you don't see a strategy when you log onto your account when you're first starting your trial, simply click the Other Strategies tab. And we'll see a variety of different strategies over on the left of the 23 different strategies I had mentioned earlier. And so I have everything from credit spreads, debit spreads, short straddles, that's selling strangles or selling straddles, long straddles and strangles, calendar call positions, calendar put positions, iron butterfly, covered combinations, and much, much more. For Ram's question, what do we want to enter here? We want to enter long call, so I'm just going to highlight that and add it to our menu. It's going to put it immediately in tab 7, but I can move that up here, up to our other available strategy tabs if I want to. We're going to put that first, and let's go ahead and do long put, add that to the menu, and I'm going to use the arrows here once again to move long put up to tab number 2, and it just lowers everything down. Now we have covered calls in tab 3, bull puts in tab 4, so on and so forth. Now scroll down to the bottom, click Save Configuration. Of course, you can clear all at any time. Just select bullish strategies, just select bearish, or just select neutral from the 23 different strategies there. Let's go ahead and save that configuration. And now I have the available tools under the long call tab. You can link to the option chain directly. We can go to the search and the sample searches, which we're going to focus on. We may even tease the long option finder a little bit. And then the back test tool, I think we're going to look at a little bit in this discussion as well, but very quickly. Okay. But you can also click the main tools here, and you have the YouTube call buying list. Ram, this will also walk you through our thoughts, sort of introduction thoughts A to Z. What is the long call, buying call strategy, preferred criteria, different setups you can use, management techniques, repairing a long call that has moved against you, and much, much more. You can check that out at any time, and some other Learning Center menus here. Now, main power of the PowerOptions tools in all 23 strategies is the patented search tool. Let's just go ahead and click on that. And when I click on the search tool, this pulls up a default set of criteria. Now, what you're seeing here is something from a webinar we did. We're on the webinar account, so we did a comparison a few weeks ago, maybe even longer, it might have been about a month and a half ago, on analyzing the returns of 1 week out, 2 week out, 3 week out, 4 week out, long call positions at the money, I believe. Was it at the money? No, it was deep in the money, delta of maybe about 0.65 or greater. In any case, that was that. So, but our default searches here, you have a Bollinger Band breakout, Bollinger Bands, and initial values. When you first start on PowerOptions, it's going to come up with the Bollinger Band breakout as a default. Now, what this is referring to is one of the technicals that we use. And Ernie likes to use sort of this Bollinger Band breakout idea when a stock has broken above the upper Bollinger Band and then closed above it, or that we have a tight bandwidth and a stock that matches our other fundamental criteria that we would look for in a bullish strategy. We want a stock in an uptrend. We may be looking for stocks that have crossed the MACD, or sorry, the MACD has crossed the signal line in the past few days. And we're looking for stocks that have closed greater than the upper band currently, but we're below the upper band. It's looking for a break above the upper Bollinger Band. Now, right now, there are no results that meet this criteria because it's heavily restricted looking for strong stocks that have just broken out of a Bollinger Band. With the markets, if they have been news-driven, tariff-driven, globally driven, we haven't seen as much consistency in the breakouts. Today, we're going to look at the long put, and I bet you there's more long put breakouts in that default search than there are call breakouts. But in any case, let's just go to the default Bollinger Bands. This is looking for ones that are near the upper level of the Bollinger Band 20, reaching up to that higher band. Maybe haven't broken through yet, but up at the higher band. I just ran this search so we could get a result. And we've got plenty of results here. I'm going to take U.S. Steel Corp, for example. Big move today, likely due to earnings, or it could have been based on the tariffs. I'm not sure. It's up 9 points. This thing's almost up 18, 20%, is it not? Let's take a look. I'm going to go one of the research tools I use. I'm going to go to research, and I'm going to go to stock research. Yeah, we're up 21% today. But the next earnings are at 7:31. So this has to be related to tariffs, other things, other news that came out that I just missed. I saw some of the things affecting my stocks, but this is a good jump here. I don't think it was a reverse split, but we're at 21.24 up. Now, let's go back to the search. What is all this terminology I'm using? Bollinger Bands, things of that nature. Let's go to charts. And let's go to big charts. You can do stock charts as well. 1 year snapshot just gives you the 1 year snapshot, but I like using big charts. Stock charts you can customize as well, but it's just a simple link. Now, how I have my chart set up here is I'm looking at a 3-month chart by default. We don't run big charts, okay, but you can set the settings here and you can save them. I'm looking at a 3-month chart. I want the 20-day moving average here. That's the yellow line. Bollinger Bands on the upper indicators in the stock. This is what I was referring to. The upper Bollinger Band here and the lower Bollinger Band. This is based on sort of a moving average of the stock, the strength of the movement. You see times when you condense in a channel here. And we talk about the breakout is when a stock breaks out above the upper Bollinger Band and closes above it. It's usually a bullish indicator. So we did have a good move here. Didn't quite get the Bollinger Band breakout here, and now we've had a sudden shoot up. This is some event in the news today. The volume, of course, I have that, and then the MACD is one of the favorite ones that I like to use as well. That's down here where we're looking. The blue line is the MACD, the red is the signal line. I'm looking for crossovers, whether it's below the signal line. Here's what I'd call a classic. Let me change the color of that arrow. I apologize, folks. It's a little bit blended. Get something that stands out here. Let's go with the bright green and redraw that arrow there. There we go. This is what I call a classic bottom in the MACD, looking for something that is bottomed out and is starting to turn back up, running against the lower Bollinger Band, and then crosses the SMA 20. This is a good signal. We'll talk about that a little bit more maybe when we talk about some of our open radioactive trades. Saw the same down here. Strong bottom signal on the MACD, crossed above the SMA 20. This is when US Steel is at 38. Before even this jump, we went up to 45. That's a good move. And we're still at 43, which is still a really good move for the position looking at those bottoms. But also the Bollinger Band breakouts as well. Okay, so that's what we're talking about with the Bollinger Band breakouts, a technical trend that Ernie has tested with other trends, but for his long calls and long puts, for our long calls and long puts, that's what we like to look for. So why didn't I see anything here? Because of today's market conditions with the Bollinger Band breakout, those specific screens, we didn't see that movement. We saw maybe more movements to the downside, and also with earnings coming in, some sudden moves. The solar was weird. I saw the solar, a lot of the solar stocks, SEDG and some others were up double-digit percents as well. And I thought that was going to be an issue with the recent... do I want to say it? I'm going to say it. The big, beautiful bill that was passed in the House, the U.S. House the other day, House of Representatives the other day, where they wanted to pull back or cease early the credits for solar and everything along those lines. But there was a big jump in some of the solar stocks today. But let's take a look at long put RAM, and let's go to search. And I'm going to look at that same sort of default criteria that we'd prefer to use. There's the long puts there. And the Bollinger Bands here, not as specific as the Bollinger Band breakouts, but we're looking for things that are flirting with those underlines. Now, in a Kraft Heinz, that's funny. To me, that's funny. All right, so Kraft Heinz, let's see. Dropping below the lower Bollinger Band has been in a strict decline. They announced yesterday here, no, it was here, I'm sorry, it was 2 days ago, it was here. They announced that they're trying to do some transactions and negotiations with their suppliers to thwart off early the effects of tariffs that might affect them. This wasn't earnings. This was just, they just came out and said it, and the stock dropped. Why do I say this is funny? This is not funny for Kraft Heinz. This is not funny for investors in Kraft Heinz if they're on the bullish stage. I'm on a bullish stage with a married put position here in this case, which is going against me, and I posted a brief for the Fusion subscribers at Radioactive Trading of what we're planning on doing. I did not make a move in the last 2 days. What I might do, my put is out to January 2026. It is currently at the 30 strike. I'm sorry, it's at the 27.5 strike, lowered from 32.5 down to 30. And there are ways that I can actually cancel half of the risk on this trade and almost get back to break even by moving this put closer in time, keeping at the same strike price, and doing an income method number 5, sort of a ratio repair. I just haven't done it yet because the numbers didn't work out as well. But this is a stock that is in a consistent downtrend and is broken below the lower Bollinger Band. It still might have more downside to go, even though it's near its 52-week low, if I'm not mistaken. I think the 52-week low was at 2610 as 2601, which it hit today. So the stock is hitting its 52-week low, but all the technicals are pointing to more downside potentially for Kraft as investors are losing interest. But I'm protected on the position, can't lose more than about 4%. Even though my initial cost basis was $28.91, we're only a loss about 1.5% on that trade at this time. But Rand, what I'm saying is that's what we're looking for. Those are some of the criteria that we're looking for with the technicals. The Bollinger Band ranges being at the lower end, possibly using the MACD, which I use for some of my credit spreads and others. But you have those defaults that work for you. And if you ask, what are the criteria you would use for those situations? Well, we saw that. We would use the Bollinger Band breakout. We didn't see any results that came in today. But as you noticed, let me scroll back again, folks. I apologize. The standard Bollinger Band is more of a gradual one. You see that you're seeing time frames out here, October, August, September, 119, 84, 147 days out in time. This quicker look that you see here on the long calls, a Bollinger Band breakout, is a shorter term, 15 to 40 days out, one strike out of the money. You can see the description right there. And of course, you can adjust the criteria any way you want. Now, is it worth it? Is this make any sense? Hey, this is what we do. This is what, we do. I'm going to take a look at SPY real quick. And I just want to look at the quotes. The only reason I'm going here is I want to take a look at the chart real quick. We've had some ups and downs. And we've had some changes in the market. Not necessarily want to pick a bottom. I want to pick a top for you. Okay? Right here, we're looking at the 19th of May. SPY topped out at about 590. We started seeing the sell signals well before that on PowerOptions. We would have been looking at puts when we saw the sell warnings coming up on a market sentiment tool. But let's just take it. 519. Instead of trying to pick a bottom and say, oh yeah, anyone who bought down here in the April VIX flux when everything was dropping, VIX was way up here at the 40 range, 45 range. You started buying calls then, you overpaid for them, but you probably made money, not as much as you expected. But I want to take May 19th. What am I doing here? I'm going to go to Back Test. And I'm going to go to Smart History Excel. This is our back testing search. We're going to the long call strategy. Now, as a trial, you have 3 months access to the historical tools, so you can test them out to decide if you want to go to the historical level of subscription. I'm going to go to the 19th, the peak of SPY, and probably QQQ as well. And I'm going to use that Bollinger Band breakout. I know we're only 4 days in, but remember these positions were shorter term, 15 to 40 days out in time. What the backtest tool is going to do is show me which options, which stocks and options would have matched the criteria of this particular holding, or this particular criteria on May 19th at the peak of SPY. We have one, Rainier Holdings. All right. I don't know what this stock did. Just using it a test. I'm going to click Calculate Group Results. With the market at the peak on May 19th, this only one result that came up for Rainier Holdings. Stock was at 53.97. We showed the 20 June 55 call 32 days out in time at 148. It's now at 238. It's at a 61% return in 4 days from May 19th to where SPY dropped from about 595 down to about 580. All right, is every result going to resemble that? No. Historical results, are no. Oh, sorry, but I'm not there. Historical results are no guarantee of future trading. But this is what those criteria do for you in the long call. All right, the default criteria. That's what we're looking for. Ernie's tested this. He's walked through it. He's gone through and seen what it is. And honestly, that a Bollinger Band breakout default search that we were talking about, if you go to the main home tab and you've got the trade picks of the day, this is what that long call screen I'm pretty sure is based on, although it's only run once or twice. It's only run once during the day. So although there are no results that match now because the market did pull back at the end of the day, at the peak, when we saw SPY, at the peak on May 19th, we had one result that matched the criteria at the end of the day for that Bollinger Band screen. It's up 61%. Let's take a look at the long puts. Let's do a back test on long puts. We don't have the A Bollinger Band breakout, but we do have the Bollinger Band screen. And let's cheat again. Instead of May 19th, where we were at the peak of SPY and we've pulled back the last 4 days, let's go back to a bottom range we saw earlier in May. Let's just go to May 2nd, when it looked like that was a time to start buying calls. And I'm just guessing here. I turned the chart off. I don't know. So let's say earlier in the month, May 2nd. Let's just look at the Bollinger Band search for buying puts. Looking at puts at the low range. We've got Organon, Lineage, eHealth. I expect to see Kraft Heinz here, but we didn't. Columbia Sportswear. So these criteria, again, looking for stocks under the 20-day moving average and are hitting that Bollinger Band range of less than 5%. Did they bounce off? Did they recover? Because the market did recover during this time period. Do we have profits on these? Let's go ahead and calculate group results. Let's see what we've got. Not too good. The top 2 or 3, which I would have entered through 3 or 4, well, average return of 0.2%, only a 60% success rate. Okay. So could have done better on this one. Church and Dwight and Pilgrim's Pride really sort of cut the results down on this one, as well as Columbia Sportswear. But again, from May 2nd to today, the market's generally been up. If you took 3 of the first 4 trades, you still would have had a profit. If you would have took 4 of the first 4 trades, you would have been profitable as well. So, something to look at there. But during your trial, Ram, you have the ability to say, hey, Mike mentioned this about these default criteria. Let me go ahead and go to the back test. What is the difference between X, Y, and Z? Which performed better than last month? The initial values, the Bollinger Bands, so forth. In addition to that, in each strategy, there's sample searches, Bollinger Band breakout, current option volume. Looking for ones that the option volume today across the entire chain for that particular stock is higher than the average 90-day total volume for the stock. Puts to buy stocks in a downtrend with low broker ratings. Just some other theme searches you can use, some other theme criteria that you can use. But the preference for me would be under long calls. I'm going to use that at a Bollinger Band breakout. If I don't see any results, well, I can change the criteria, but that's telling me that, hey, what Ernie went out and tested and looked for is showing no results. Right now might not be the best time to buy calls. Let me go to long puts. Let me check that search. Let me check the sample searches. Let me see what's there. And you can back test those during your trial for the last 2 or 3 months period. And, as we saw, there was enough ups and downs over the last 2 or 3 months where you can test, hey, in this period, okay, obviously, long puts would have done well. In this period here, we're sort of neutral-ish. This period here, we're neutral-ish. Here we're kind of neutralish, but we're kind of fluctuating down to a neutral range, and then boom, there's that April spike. Then we start to come back up. So during this time frame, which long put search would have worked best? Which long call search would have worked best? They probably all would have worked really well. In this time frame, we showed that, hey, even picking at the peak here, the one that came up, that Rainair one, 61% return. Again, historical results are no guarantee of future trading and future profits, but it gives you a gauge of what to use, and you can customize them any way you want. But for Ram, your question regarding our long call and long put preferred criteria, that's where my starting point is. That's where I'd use. And as I mentioned, in addition to that, the default searches and the sample searches on the main home tab, you have the picks of the day, covered calls, the weekly and monthly picks of the day, same for cash secured naked puts, weekly and monthly selections, and the bull put credit spreads that I like to use 14 days out for the weekly expiration as well. All right. In addition to that, Ram, one further follow-up. If you go to our YouTube channel, you can click on the playlists link, and we have about 9, 10, 12 different videos, and much of our preferred ones. 12 videos on call buying, long calls and long puts. If you go to view full playlist here, you can see the various ones. Tools for evaluating long options, searching for long calls. Is there a proper delta to buy a call? When to expect a profit based on the time value decay, implied volatility flux, high delta call buying, call spreads versus buying calls, butterflies, when to close or exit a long call, 8 ways to manage a profitable long call, managing a losing bought call, stock repair on a long call, managing a bought call that is near full loss. So like I said, the playlist there on YouTube, introductory steps, sort of A to Z. What is it? Evaluating it, searching for it, insight into deltas, expecting a profit, comparisons to other strategies, management techniques for losing or for winning trades. That's what's in each of the playlists for each of the different strategies that we show here in the playlist sections of our YouTube channel. So check those out. Go through that call buying and long calls. It'll also give you insight into the put buying as well.